Hi, I'm Stacy Hyde and I'm back for another episode of Better Financial Health in 15 Minutes or Less. And let's get real here. There's been kind of a month or so that we haven't posted, and part of the reason was I was out in Colorado enjoying the cooler weather out there. But it made me think about goals and about how, especially when you're younger, just getting out of school or just starting your family, like thinking about retirement and what your goals should be can be really hard because you don't know what you're going to be doing next year, much less 30 years from now. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't start setting money aside. But as I've said on here before, not everything you save for should necessarily be in a retirement account, because those retirement accounts have rules. You have to be 59 and a half to get money out without a penalty, all of those types of things, which they're great and there's huge benefits. We'll talk more about other subjects in the One Big Beautiful Bill on our next episode. But I wanted to talk about that, and because it did make me think about goals. When I was starting my career, I'd been to Colorado once, but as I got older and my kids got older and my husband and I started doing different things, we discovered that we loved the Mountain West. And so that became one of our goals, was to own property out in Colorado. But had we not, and quite frankly, that would have never occurred to us early on, because we would go on beach trips. We did take our kids skiing when they were younger, but we'd never been out there in the summertime. And so if we had waited to save for that until after we decided that that was a goal of ours, we never would have been able to do it. But early on, we were diligent savers, really tried to live within our means. And a real hack to doing that, and I share this with my daughter and the children of clients that we work with, the real key to being a sort of a magnificent saver is when you start out your career, you're usually not making a ton of money. But then if you really get in there and you start working hard and you work somewhere where they recognize you for what you do, you probably get some pretty big pay increases pretty quickly. If you can maybe raise your standard of living a little bit, if you're not in the safest neighborhood, maybe move to a little bit safer neighborhood, maybe get a little more reliable car. But beyond that, you don't really change what you do, and you start saving that money and setting it aside and investing it, not just putting it in a savings account earning, maybe 4%, but actually investing it and letting it grow. Then by the time you get to be old like me, in your middle 50s, you have options. There's things that you can do. We work with a lot of people. The thing they want to do is leave the workforce early. So it can open that as an option. It can be like us, wanting a second home. It could be helping your children buy their first home. It can be anything that you don't know now, but by being diligent, setting that money aside, saving and investing it, you give yourself options. It also means that as you're going through, there'll be things that you may think, oh, I kind of want that. But then you look at it and you're like, but really, are we going to have time? For us, the big purchase that we really thought hard about, but ultimately said no to, and oh, thank God we did, was buying a boat. We literally own everything for a boat except the boat. But guess what? We can rent a boat. It doesn't cost that much money. But if we bought a boat, it would cost a ton of money. There's lots of cost associated with it, and we wouldn't have used it very much. And so we thankfully made the decision not to buy the boat. It could be anything. For some people, that's a motorcycle. For some people, for a lot of people, it's an RV. really look at, is that something that I could rent and use, and see if it's going to be something that we really, really want. For us, we kept going out to Colorado and we rented a place, and we really spent a week and then a couple of weeks and figured out, well, we really want to be here, and we built a community there as well. And so for us, that became a yes, we absolutely want to do this. On paper, does it make great financial sense? It does. Okay. I mean, if we continue to get appreciation, yes, but it's more about a lifestyle choice. And that's the thing about goals, is you are saving just generally, and then as you go on, things get specific. You know, another thing that comes up for a lot of people is we decided we wanted our children to go to private school for middle and high school. That was not an inexpensive choice. And we didn't know that that was going to be a goal. We kind of thought it might be. But, you know, we made the choice to send them to public school for elementary, save the money that we would have spent, and that funded their college. And that was a good goal for us. And that was something that was more immediate, that we could really see and kind of had a pretty good idea that was going to be a goal. So I think sometimes we get caught up in, I don't know what my goals are, so therefore I'm not going to save. That's really the wrong approach. You really need to save generally, because it's going to give you options. And even if there is nothing big that you want to do, it can allow you to maybe make different career choices. It can give you peace of mind. The number one thing couples fight about is money. And if money is not an issue, if there's good savings, things are set aside, that's not going to cause issues with you and your partner. So you don't have to know what your goals are to start saving for them. The goal can just be saving as its own goal, because it has lots of virtues. And boy, if you've ever used a financial calculator and looked at the value of compounding over time, I promise you, you will want to start as early as possible, because time is your best investment. Thanks for tuning in. This has been another episode of Better Financial Health in 15 minutes or less.